The autumn sun painted the plaza gold, but Thomas Bennett didn't notice. His hands gripped the wheelchair handles, so tight his knuckles turned white. Push stop, push stop. The wheels made a sad squeaking sound with every turn. Around them, the world moved fast. People rushed past carrying shopping bags and coffee cups. Children ran and laughed, their shoes slapping against the warm stones. A dog barked somewhere. Music played from a street musician's guitar. But Thomas and his son Lucas moved through all of it like ghosts. Thomas wore a wrinkled gray jacket that had seen better days. It had coffee stains on one sleeve. His face looked older than it should, deep lines around his eyes, shadows underneath them like he hadn't slept in weeks. Because he hadn't. Not really. In the wheelchair sat Lucas, 8 years old, wearing a faded blue sweater that used to be his favorite. His brown hair needed cutting. His hands rested on his lap, still and small, but his eyes were still bright, still looking, still hoping maybe they had just left Dr. Morrison's office. The 5th doctor this month, the 20th this year. "I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett," the doctor had said, shaking his head. "There's nothing more we can do. The damage is permanent. Sometimes medicine doesn't have all the answers." Permanent. That word felt like a door slamming shut. Thomas pushed the wheelchair toward their usual bench. His wallet was empty. His hope felt the same way. The medical bills stacked up at home like a paper mountain, each one a reminder of another failed try, another expert who couldn't help, another expensive test that showed nothing. But the worst part? The silence. Their house used to be loud. Lucas used to run down the hallway so fast his socks would slide on the wooden floor. He used to jump on his bed and pretend it was a trampoline. He used to play soccer in the backyard, kicking the ball until the sun went down and Thomas had to call him inside 3 times. That was before the mysterious illness that came like a thief in the night. Before Lucas woke up one morning and couldn't move his legs. Before a year of doctors scratching their heads and saying words like unusual and unprecedented, and we've never seen anything quite like this. Now their house was quiet. Too quiet. The soccer ball sat in the garage, collecting dust. Lucas's running shoes were in the closet, waiting. Thomas blinked hard. He wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of Lucas. "Dad!" Lucas's voice was small. "Are we going home now?" Thomas opened his mouth to answer, but something caught his eye. Across the plaza, near the fountain with the stone lions, stood a girl. She was maybe 10 years old, thin as a bird, with wild dark hair that tangled around her shoulders like she'd never seen a brush. Her feet were bare and dirty. She wore a yellow dress that was too short and had patches sewn on with different colored thread, red, green, blue, like a quilt someone had given up on. A homeless girl. Thomas had seen her around the plaza before, always alone, always watching. Most people walked past her like she was invisible. Some dropped coins in a cup beside her feet. Others pulled their children closer and hurried away. But this girl wasn't looking at them. She was looking at Lucas. Her eyes, dark and sharp, locked onto the wheelchair like she could see right through it. Like she could see something nobody else could see. Thomas felt uncomfortable. He started to turn the wheelchair away. But the girl moved. She walked straight toward them with quick, confident steps. No hesitation. No fear. Like she knew exactly what she was doing. Even though Thomas had no idea what that was. "Let's go, Lucas," Thomas said quietly, starting to push the wheelchair faster. "Dad, wait," Lucas said, but the girl was already there. She stopped right in front of them, blocking their path. Up close, Thomas could see dirt under her fingernails and a small scar above her left eyebrow. But her face was bright, awake, alive in a way that made Thomas feel tired just looking at her. "Hi," she said to Lucas. Just Lucas. Like Thomas wasn't even there. Lucas blinked up at her. Hi." The girl smiled. It wasn't a polite smile or a pitying smile. It was a real smile, the kind that reached her eyes and made them crinkle at the corners. "What's your name?" she asked. "Lucas." "I'm Zora." She tilted her head, studying him. "Why are you in that chair?" Thomas stepped forward, his voice sharper than he meant to be. "Excuse me, but we really need to. I can't walk, Lucas said softly. He said it the way someone says a fact they've gotten used to, even though it still hurts. Zara nodded slowly, like Lucas had just told her something interesting instead of something sad. Then she said the strangest thing. You don't need that chair. Thomas felt anger flash hot in his chest. Who was this girl? What gave her the right to? We've seen 20 doctors, Thomas said, his voice hard. We've tried everything. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Lucas. Come on. He moved to push the wheelchair around her. But Zara didn't move. She kept looking at Lucas with those sharp, dark eyes. The doctors looked at what's broken, Zara said. I'm looking at what works. Lucas stared at her. Thomas could see his son's mind working. Thinking, wondering. Nothing works, Lucas whispered. My legs don't work anymore. Your legs are scared, Zara said, like this was the most obvious thing in the world. They forgot what they can do. But they remember. Deep down, they remember everything. Thomas wanted to pull Lucas away. This girl was filling his son's head with impossible ideas. Dangerous hope. Hope was the thing that hurt most when it died. But then Lucas did something Thomas hadn't seen in months. Lucas leaned forward in his wheelchair. His eyes got wider. His hands gripped the armrests. How do you know? Lucas asked Zara. His voice wasn't flat anymore. It had something in it. Something that sounded like interest, like curiosity, like the spark of flame that had been cold for so long. Zara shrugged. I just know. I see things other people don't see. I see you, Lucas. The real you, not the chair. You. Thomas opened his mouth to say no, to say they needed to leave, to say this was cruel and wrong and... Wait, Dad, Lucas whispered. Thomas looked down at his son. Lucas's face had changed. The tiredness was still there, but something else was there too. Something Thomas hadn't seen in over a year. Hope. Dangerous, beautiful, terrifying hope. I want to hear what she says, Lucas said, his eyes never leaving Zara's face. And Thomas, despite every logical thought in his head, despite every warning bell ringing in his mind, despite knowing that hope had failed him again and again and again, Thomas let go of the wheelchair handles. He took one step back, and he let the homeless girl in the yellow dress step closer to his son. Zara dropped to her knees right there on the warm plaza stones. Her yellow dress spread around her like a circle of sunshine. She looked straight into Lucas's eyes, not down at him the way doctors did, not with pity the way strangers did. She looked at him the way you'd look at a friend. So, Zara said, crossing her arms like they were having the most normal conversation in the world, what do you miss the most? Lucas blinked. Nobody had asked him that before. Doctors asked about pain levels and symptoms. His dad asked if he was okay, if he needed anything, but nobody asked what he missed. Lucas's voice was quiet. I miss running. Really fast, where the wind at your face and makes your eyes water. I miss jumping over puddles. I miss playing tag with my friends. He stopped, looking down at his hands. But they don't visit anymore. I think they forgot about me. They didn't forget, Zara said. They just don't know what to say. That happens when people are scared. Thomas stood behind the wheelchair, his arms crossed tight over his gray jacket. Every parent instinct told him to stop this. But Lucas's face looked alive for the first time in forever. So Thomas stayed quiet, even though his heart hammered against his ribs. Zara held out her hand to Lucas. Shake. Lucas looked confused but reached out. Their hands met, Zara's small and rough with calluses. Lucas's soft and unused anything but resting on his lap. But Zara didn't just shake. She squeezed once, then twice, then 3 times in a rhythm. Then she pulled her hand away and clapped once. Then she reached out again. Lucas laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was rusty, like a gate that hadn't been opened in years, but was real. What are we doing? Lucas asked, but he was smiling. Playing, Zara said, like it was obvious. You remember how to play, right? Your legs might have forgotten how to work, but your smile still remembers. That's something. They did the hand-clapping game again. This time Lucas got the rhythm right. Squeeze, 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 clap, shake. His eyes lit up with each round, getting faster, laughing harder. Thomas felt something crack inside his chest. When was the last time he'd heard Lucas laugh like that? Really laugh. Not the polite smile he gave when people asked how he was doing. A few people in the plaza stopped to watch. An old woman with a shopping bag. A man walking his dog. They saw the homeless girl in the yellow dress play with the boy in the wheelchair, and they didn't look away. "Okay," Zara said, standing up and brushing off her knees. "Now try something harder." "What?" Lucas asked. "Push your chair. By yourself." Lucas's smile faded a little. "My dad always pushes me." "I know, but try pushing yourself. Just a little bit. See if you can move it even 1 inch. Thomas started to speak. "He can't." "Can't." Zara turned to look at him, and her dark eyes were sharp. "Or hasn't." Thomas closed his mouth. His face felt hot. Lucas looked down at the wheels beside him. Big rubber wheels that his dad had pushed for over a year. He'd never tried to push them himself. What was the point? His legs didn't work, and you needed your legs to... "You don't need legs to push wheels," Zara said, like she could hear his thoughts. "You need hands, and your hands work fine. I just shook them, remember?" Lucas put his hands on the wheels. They felt strange under his palms, rough and cool. He pushed. Nothing happened. "Harder," Zara said. "Not me, but firm, like a coach, like someone who believed he could do it." Lucas pushed harder. His arms shook with the effort. His face scrunched up, and then the wheelchair moved. Just 1 inch, maybe less, but it moved. "Yes." Zara jumped in the air, her bare feet leaving the ground. "Did you see that? Did you see? You moved it." "I moved it," Lucas whispered, staring at his own hands like they belonged to someone else. "I actually moved it." "Again," Zara said. "Go to that bench over there." She pointed to a bench 10 feet away. "That's too far," Lucas said. Maybe not. Only one way to know." Thomas watched his son grip the wheels. Watched him push, his small arms straining. The wheelchair rolled forward. 1 foot, 2 feet. Lucas was breathing hard, but he didn't stop. 3 feet, 4 feet. People in the plaza were definitely watching now. The old woman had set down her shopping bag. The man with the dog had stopped walking. Even the street musician had stopped playing his guitar. Lucas made it to the bench. 7 feet, maybe 8. Not the full 10, but close enough. He was gasping for breath, sweating, but his face was shining. "I did it," he said, looking up at Zara, who had walked beside him the whole way. "I really did it." "Of course you did," Zara said, like there had never been any doubt. "Want to know a secret?" Lucas nodded. Zara leaned in close, her wild dark hair falling forward. "That's the first step. Your arms just told your body that you're not giving up. And your body? It's listening. It's been waiting for you to try." Thomas felt tears burning behind his eyes. He blinked them back fast, but not fast enough. One escaped and rolled down his cheek. He wiped it away quickly. How was this happening? How was this homeless girl doing what 20 doctors couldn't do? She had no medical degree, no fancy equipment, no medicine. All she had was belief. Stubborn, impossible belief. Zara stood up straight and dusted off her yellow dress. She looked at Lucas seriously. "Want to try something even bigger?" Lucas's eyes went wide. Half excited, half scared. "Like what?" "Reach for something," Zara said. She looked around and spotted a leaf, bright orange and perfect, just out of Lucas's reach on the bench. "Reach for that leaf. Don't use your wheels to get closer. Stretch your body. Use your stomach muscles, your back, everything that works." "But..." "No buts. Try." Lucas stared at the leaf. It was maybe 2 feet away from his fingertips. 2 feet might as well have been 2 miles. But he reached, his right arm extended. His body leaned forward in the wheelchair. Thomas almost rushed forward to catch him. But Zara held up one hand. "Wait." Lucas leaned farther. His stomach muscles engaged. Thomas could see them tighten under the blue sweater. His face turned red with effort. His fingers stretched. They touched the leaf. Lucas grabbed it and held it up like a trophy, like gold, like the most valuable thing in the world. I got it, he shouted. Not a whisper, not a quiet voice. A real shout that echoed across the plaza. I got it. Did you see? I got it. The old woman clapped. The man with the dog whistled. The street musician started playing a happy song. Zara high-fived Lucas, so hard it made a smacking sound. That's what I'm talking about. Your whole body just worked together. Your arms, your stomach, your back. All of it. You're not as broken as you think you are, Lucas. Thomas couldn't hold back anymore. He walked around the wheelchair and knelt down in front of the son. Lucas was still holding the orange leaf, still grinning like he'd just won a race. Lucas, Thomas said, his voice thick, I'm so proud of you. Dad, did you see? I reached it all by myself. I saw. Thomas touched his son's face gently. I saw everything. He looked up at Zara, the strange, wild girl in a yellow dress who had done the impossible. Thank you, he said. I don't understand how, but thank you. Zara shrugged, but she was smiling too. I just saw what was there. Everyone else sees what's missing. She looked back at Lucas, and her smile faded into something more serious. Something that made Thomas nervous and hopeful all at once. You ready for the biggest challenge? Zara asked. Lucas nodded, still holding his orange leaf. What is it? Zara stood up and held out both her hands to Lucas. Stand up. The plaza seemed to go quiet. Even the fountain stopped making noise for a moment. Or maybe that was just Thomas's imagination. Lucas's face went pale. I can't. I haven't stood up in over a year. My legs don't. Your legs are right there, Zara said, pointing down. They haven't disappeared. They're just waiting for you to remember them. So remember. But the doctor said... Forget what the doctors said. I'm asking what you think. Do you want to try? Lucas looked at his father. Thomas saw the fear in his son's eyes, but also something else. That spark. That dangerous, beautiful spark of hope. Thomas wanted to say no. Wanted to protect his son from another failure, another disappointment. But he couldn't. Not when Lucas was looking at him like that. It's up to you, buddy, Thomas whispered. Whatever you want to do. Lucas looked back at Zara, at her outstretched hands, at her dark eyes that saw things nobody else could see. He dropped the orange leaf. It fluttered to the ground, and he reached up and grabbed Zara's hands. Okay, Lucas said, his voice shaking. I'll try. Lucas's hands gripped Zara's, so tight his knuckles turned white. The whole plaza seemed to hold its breath. The old woman with the shopping bag stepped closer. The man with the dog stopped petting his animal and just watched. Even the pigeons near the fountain went still. Thomas felt like his heart might explode right out of his chest. Ready? Zara asked. Her voice was calm, steady, like they were about to do something simple instead of something impossible. Lucas nodded, but his face showed pure terror. What if I fall? Then you fall, Zara said, and then you try again. Falling isn't the end of the world. Giving up is. Okay. Lucas took a deep breath. Okay, I'm ready. Push with your arms first. Zara instructed. Use the armrest of the wheelchair. Get your body up. I've got your hands. I won't let you fall on your face. I promise. Lucas put his weight on the armrests. His arms shook. They weren't used to holding his whole body. He pushed up, up, up. His bottom left the wheelchair seat. He was halfway standing, bent over, his body forming an awkward angle. Now your legs, Zara said. Tell them to remember. Tell them what to do. Lucas's legs hung down, limp and useless. They'd been limp for over a year. Why would today be different? But Lucas closed his eyes. Thomas saw his son's lips move, like he was talking to his own body, like he was asking it, begging it, to please remember. Lucas tried to straighten his legs. Nothing happened. His arms gave out. He dropped back into the wheelchair with a thump. His face crumpled. I can't do it. Thomas rushed forward. That's enough. You tried. That's all that matters. No. Zara's voice was sharp. She looked at Thomas with those dark, Fierce eyes. One try is enough. Nothing worth doing works on the first try. She turned back to Lucas. Again. But... Again, Zara repeated. Not mean. Just certain. Like she knew something Lucas didn't know yet. You're stronger than one try. I know you are. Lucas looked up at her. Tears made his eyes shiny, but he hadn't cried them yet. He was holding them back, being brave. What if I can't? Lucas whispered. What if this is all I'll ever be? Zara knelt down again, still holding his hands. Listen to me, Lucas. I've been living on the streets since I was 6 years old. You know what I learned? The world tells you what you can't do every single day. It tells you you're too small, too weak, too broken, too poor, too different. But you know what? What? Lucas asked. The world is wrong. The world doesn't get to decide what you can do. You decide. So decide right now. Are you trying again or not? Lucas looked at his father. Thomas's face was wet with tears. He wasn't even trying to hide anymore. What do I do, Dad? Lucas asked. Thomas knelt beside the wheelchair. He put his hand on his son's shoulder. I can't decide for you, buddy. But I'll tell you this. I've watched you fight for over a year. You've been to more doctors than most people see in a lifetime. You've been poked and tested and scanned and examined. And through all of it, you never stopped being brave. So if you want to try again, I'm right here. And if you want to stop, that's okay too. Either way, you're the strongest kid I know. Lucas wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. He took 3 deep breaths. In, out, in, out, in, out. Then he grabbed Zara's hands again. One more time, Lucas said. His voice didn't shake this time. I'm trying one more time. That's my guy, Zara said, grinning. Now listen. This time, don't think about your legs. Think about standing. Think about what standing feels like. Remember the feeling. Your body knows. You just have to remind it. Lucas closed his eyes. Thomas watched his son's face change, the fear melting away, replaced by concentration, so intense it looked like Lucas was solving the hardest math problem in the world. Lucas pushed up with his arms. His body lifted from the wheelchair. His hands gripped Zara's like she was the only thing keeping him from drowning. And then his legs tensed. Not much, just a little, but Thomas saw it. The muscles in Lucas's calves tightened. His knees, bent and weak for so long, began to straighten. Yes, Zara whispered. Yes, that's it. You're doing it. Lucas's eyes opened. He looked down at his own legs like they belonged to a stranger. They were shaking violently, trembling like small earthquakes, but they were holding him. He was standing, not perfectly, not easily. Zara was holding most of his weight, and his legs looked like they might give out any second, but his feet were flat on the ground. His knees were straight. His body was upright. Lucas was standing. The old woman gasped. The man with the dog said, "Oh my God." The street musician started playing the most beautiful song Thomas had ever heard. Dad. Lucas's voice was tiny, scared, amazed all at once. Dad, I'm standing. Thomas couldn't speak, couldn't move, couldn't breathe. He just stared at his son, his beautiful, brave, impossible son, standing on his own 2 legs. 5 seconds, Zara counted. 6 seconds. 7. 8. You're doing it, Lucas. At 10 seconds, Lucas's legs started to give out. Zara guided him gently back into the wheelchair. He sat down hard, gasping like he'd just run a marathon. But he was smiling, so wide his whole face looked like it might split in half. I stood up, Lucas said, looking at his hands, his legs, his father. I really stood up. For 10 whole seconds, I stood up. Thomas fell to his knees and pulled Lucas into the tightest hug of his life. He was crying now, big, gulping sobs he couldn't control and didn't want to. You did it. You did it. I saw you. Everyone saw you. The people in the plaza clapped. Some of them were crying too. The old woman was dabbing her eyes with a tissue. The man with the dog was recording on his phone, tears streaming down his face. Thomas pulled back and looked at Zara, this strange, wild girl in a yellow dress who had just changed everything. How? Thomas asked, "How did you know he could do this?" Zara shrugged. "I didn't know for sure, but I believed. And sometimes believing is enough to make impossible things possible." Thomas looked at this girl, really looked at her. Bare feet covered in dirt, patches on her dress, hair that needed washing. A girl the world had forgotten about, ignored, walked past like she was invisible. A girl who had nothing. A girl who had just given them everything. "Where do you live?" Thomas asked. Zara's smile faded a little. "The plaza, mostly. Sometimes under the bridge when it rains. Wherever is safe." Thomas made a decision. The easiest decision he'd ever made in his life. "Not anymore," he said. Zara looked confused. "What?" Thomas stood up and took off his gray jacket. Under it, he wore a red shirt, bright red, the color of hope. He draped the jacket around Zara's thin shoulders. "Come home with us," Thomas said. "Live with us. You gave my son something 20 doctors couldn't give him. You gave him belief. You gave him hope. You gave him back his legs, at least the start of them. Let us give you something back. Let us give you a home." Zara stepped back, shaking her head. I can't. I don't know how to be part of a family." "Neither did I," Thomas said. "Not really. I was so busy being scared and sad that I forgot how to help my son believe in himself. You taught me something today. You taught both of us. Please, stay with us. We need you. I need you," Lucas said from his wheelchair. He was still wearing his blue sweater, but Thomas could already picture him in the green shirt waiting at home, the one Lucas used to wear when he played soccer. Maybe soon he'd wear it again. "Please, Zara, please stay." Zara looked at Lucas, then at Thomas, then back at Lucas. Her tough, fierce face cracked. Just a little. Just enough to show the scared little girl underneath. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, I'll stay." Thomas picked her up. She weighed almost nothing and hugged her over her shoulder. He reached down and pulled Lucas into the hug, too. The three of them stood there in the middle of the plaza, holding each other like they were the only people in the world. The old woman clapped harder. The man with the dog whistled. The street musician's song reached a beautiful, soaring note. Thomas wheeled Lucas toward their old car parked at the edge of the plaza. Zara walked beside them, Thomas's gray jacket hanging huge on her small frame, but she pulled it tight around herself like it was made of gold. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky orange and pink and purple. Tomorrow, Thomas would call more doctors. Tomorrow, Lucas would work on standing for longer. Tomorrow, they'd figure out how this new family worked. But today they had done the impossible. Today, a homeless girl had taught a father how to hope again. Today, a boy had stood when the whole world said he never would. Today, belief had won. As they drove away from the plaza, Lucas held the orange leaf he'd picked up again, his trophy, his reminder. He looked out the window at the city passing by, and for the first time in over a year, he thought about running. And he believed, really truly believed, that someday soon he would. What did you think of Lucas and Zara's story? If this story touched your heart, imagine what other miracles are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to believe in them. Sometimes the people with the least to give have everything we need. Your turn. Have you ever met someone who believed in you when no one else did? Or maybe you've been that person for someone else. Share this story with someone who needs to remember that impossible things happen every single day. To ordinary people who choose to believe. Speech Balloon, drop a comment below. What was your favorite moment in the story? Have you ever witnessed a moment that seemed impossible? Who in your life needs to hear Zara's message? You're stronger than you think? Backhand index pointing right. Don't keep this story to yourself. Someone in your life needs to read about Lucas's 10 seconds of standing. Someone needs to meet Zara and remember that hope isn't foolish. It's powerful. Share it. Save it. Let it remind you. The world doesn't get to decide what you can do. You decide. Glowing star, because sometimes all we need is one person who sees what's possible instead of what's missing. What impossible thing will you believe in today?